Starting off, this hand is really prone to a bad draw. We specifically need one of 6 cards to get Ninth Bridge Patrol online. I don't think I can keep it. I need some of my Artifact 2s or some blue cards. I just don't have them. As much as it sucks to have to mulligan away Confiscation Coup, and we are on the draw, I think we have to get rid of this. This hand looks a lot better, in fact. This one's just much nicer. We'll bottom that because we desperately need the land, especially with Aether Squall Ancient in hand. That's the one problem with this hand, is the Aether Squall Ancient. Theorist, double land, trade winds, and P-Foul seems like the place that we want to be. Okay, 1 land. Now we've just got to stall long enough to get to the Aether Squall, because Aether Squall is a bomb. Card is huge. Fretwork Colony. Good news is that we can Aether Tradewinds that, and the Theorist will block it for a turn. So we can do some work with it. I'm going to stop on my upkeep. I'll definitely block. Hope they don't have a Rush of Vitality they're going to use. I wouldn't think they would use it here. Takes their whole turn to do it. Doesn't make a ton of sense. Actually, I don't want to do that on my upkeep, now that I think about it. Because I want to be able to block, scry, and then Aether Tradewinds away the Fretwork and the Aether Theorist. So we'll do that instead and pass. I don't want to leave the card tapped beforehand. Let our opponent lose some life here and not get ahead. One good thing about bouncing Fretwork Colony, they lose a ton of life, and then they have to just start over again and lose a bunch more life. We don't have a ton of pressure on the back of that, so that's our problem. In a regular deck, if we could be a little bit more aggressive here, that would be bad for our opponent. As it is, it's really not hurting them that badly. And they're very aggressive, so that is an issue. Wow, opponent does nothing. That seems very weird. I mean, sure, I can have something, but their deck seems like it would want to get in here. I mean, if I kill a Lawless Broker with an impeccable timing, does that matter? Like, maybe not get in with Fretwork Colony because you don't want to lose that to a timing. But do you really care about Lawless Broker dying? I mean, you get a +1/+1 counter on like a Thriving Grubs or something. I don't know. Seems like a thing I would do. I am not my opponent, though. Get rid of the colony. And now we can get P-Foul down, and that just stops our opponent's aggression. Bastion Mastodon is nice the turn afterwards, too. Sky Skiff is going to get in for some damage for a little while, but it's not terrible. Eventually, the P-Foul will just block it. Just need time. Opponent thinking really hard here. I wonder if they do have a trick. If they attack in with both creatures, what would I do? I need to start thinking about that eventuality now, because that's a tough block for me, I think. And I need to be aware that it might happen. Oval Chase Daredevil. Okay. Now it's not happening. Sky Skiff didn't activate, though. That surprises me. Sky Skiff should definitely have gotten in. If I'm attacking back into their board with my 2/4, like flying it and then attacking, I think they're pretty happy about that. Like, they want to be the aggressor here. My 2/4 versus their, like, 10 power board is not very good. If I really feel like I can attack into that and let them attack me back, then if I were the opponent, I'd be all in on that. I'd be very happy. 2 damage is, in fact, less than 10 damage. There we go. So this time the Sky Skiff is going in. Question is the Daredevil? Nope. Okay. We're pretty close to the Aether Squall Ancient. Opponent probably stuck not playing the Fretwork Colony. Oh, okay. I am wrong, in fact. I was assuming that they wouldn't play it just because we have enough blockers now, but I am apparently, like I said, very, very wrong. I can fly the Peafowl, block either the Skyskiff or the Foundry Screecher, so no issues there. Aether Theorist does a good job of blocking Colony for now. We can acrobatic maneuver it if I feel like I need to. The maneuver is actually a pretty good draw because it lets us protect all of our creatures really well. Every single one of our creatures currently is very important. Aether Theorist perhaps less so, but I mean, if our opponent just like unlicensed disintegrations our Mastodon, we could be taking a ton of damage, and I'd want to stop that. At end of turn, no matter what, I think that I'm going to use the acrobatic maneuver because all we really want to do is hit this Aether Squall Ancient. We just need a land. And the best part is that if we acrobatic maneuver the Aether Theorist, then it means that we can get enough energy that the Ancient is already online. Okay, I was going to say I might want to use this on upkeep. Actually, I guess I still do, because I want to use the Aether Squall Ancient. Yeah, so scry here. Any land goes straight to the bottom. Most other things can stay on top. Oh, I'm an idiot. I am an idiot. That does in fact use energy, which I need to use the Aether Squall Ancient. Well, I mean, I'm consigned to doing it anyways. I'll still play the Ancient. It just makes me look kind of foolish. And by kind of foolish, I mean very foolish. I could wait. Just play Freighter? I don't want to do that. I want to play the Ancient. I shouldn't let one bad mistake make me do another one. I should play the Ancient now. And just pass. That was so dumb, though. That was so dumb. Not a good move. Because now our opponent gets to attack us for a turn with all their creatures. I imagine Dund Operative at least is getting in. Very bad play on my part. I was just sitting there thinking, well, if I'm bouncing the Theorist anyways, I mean, I don't care if it's tapped, right? I just want to scry. And I want to scry, but I also, you know, would like to bounce everything. They're using the Skyskiff, so that probably means they're attacking the whole team. Yep. Block the Screecher. Actually, Screecher goes back. The Skyskiff doesn't. Bastion Mastodon can block. Do I care about Oval Chase? I mean, it gets rebought, so probably not. We'll just kill these. Take 10 damage that I didn't need to take. Yeah, that's probably fine. Welding Sparks on Aether Squall for 4. Just enough to kill it. Sorry, we have a kitty visitor here meowing in the background. I could have not blocked with the Aether Squall, but I'm just worried that they can out-aggressive us after we bounce everything anyways. That turn came back and punished us very harshly. Bastion Mastodon can attack. I mean, part of the good news here is that our opponent's not that ahead of us on life, and their attacks really aren't great. Play the module. Module we can use to block the Fretwork Colony forever at some point, because we can just bounce whatever gets underneath it. This turn I might have to take 5. It's a tough one. I don't really want to double block. Opponent drew more gas. Pretty soon our opponent is going to draw some lands. Here, take 3. Nope, that's not correct. This is correct, though. I feel like the Aether Theorist just goes under the bus. I didn't want to do anything like activate Freighter. Ooh, Propeller Pioneer is a nice one. Propeller Pioneer with the with the Decoction module lets us basically stall out forever. And it gives us something to do in the air to attack. Probably trading Dukara Peafowl with the Dund Operative. Either that or the Renegade Freighter. Freighter might be the correct choice. Pioneer, get some energy. It's too bad that now we just don't have a reason to use the energy. So the Servo Chump blocks the colony. The Freighter trades at the Operative. This can block the Prakata Pillar Bug. And I think we're in good shape. I can just imagine how much better this game would be going if I'd used the Aether Squall Ancient appropriately. Feels weird to throw away the Freighter, but I think that I'd rather have a flyer, and I'd rather have an actual creature than something that I have to crew. All of my creatures are pretty important because of the Decoction module, just being able to bounce them and rebuy them. Don't really mind getting a land here. Oh, hello. Confiscation coup. So I could give this Vigilance. Steal the Pillar Bug. Have 2 blockers and attack for 8. I think I like that. Fretwork Colony gets very close to killing them. I don't really want the Fretwork Colony for myself. It doesn't block, and I really don't care about cards that can't block for me right now. With 2 blockers, I believe this is safe. Should have done that the other way around, though. I should have left black open. I was thinking of leaving blue open for the card P-Foul to fly it, but that didn't really matter. I needed to leave this for lifelink. Unlikely that it really makes a difference, because if we're able to block with it, we're probably fine. But still another minor mistake, so some pretty obvious stupid mistakes there. The Aether Scroll Ancient especially. This one's very minor, but definitely a misplay as well. Should leave the black open. That being said, doing pretty good so far. Opponent's deck is aggressive. It's only like Malfunction is good against Fretwork. Select for Inspection is pretty good against it as well. Our opponent's deck is just very, very aggressive. So we want to be able to like gain life and kind of interact with them early. Fireforger's Puzzle Knot can kill Foundry Screechers. Can also kill Malphus Squad if they have it. It's not a lot that it kills, though. I mean, Foundry Screecher's kind of the big one that we saw. Maybe some servos, but we didn't see a lot of those either. And I'm assuming they might have a Malphus Squad, but we haven't seen it, so I don't have to put in the Fireforgers. We did pass the Emerald Bruiser late, but I'm guessing that they took the Dund Operative over it because there was a Dund Operative in the same pack, and I definitely would have done that. I think that Dund Operative is better 9 times out of 10. So select. I don't really want Essence Extraction. The double black is tough to do. Maybe the Malfunction. Like, this card's really good against our opponent, but makes our mana very bad. And what doesn't work well against our opponent? Slow and Dirtly is a little bit of a problem. I could take out the Disappearing Act for, say, Malfunction. Or the Select. I didn't see a ton of tricks from our opponent. Just the Welding Sparks is the only thing they played that wasn't a creature even. So I think that we'll select instead just to buy ourselves time. Because if we can get to the later parts of the game, we've got the cards to come over the top of our opponent's deck for sure. And Disappearing Act seems like it's better to counter one big spell, and our opponent doesn't have cards like that. They have lots of little creatures. So we'll do this. That was a mulligan to 6 too, so despite our misplays and a mulligan to 6, we still won. I feel very confident about that going into the second game here. It's always nice to... I mean, it's not good to misplay, but it's nice to know that you can misplay and still win. That your deck is fairly solid, that you've got some good bombs. We drew both of them that game, and we got our Confiscation Coup and the Aether Squall. Even though it did get killed, we managed to get a Welding Sparks and a creature out of it. It wasn't the worst thing. We'll keep this. I think I start off with a 9th bridge. Certainly reasonable to play Cogworkers first and then mechanic it back. This only counts creatures, so if we bounce the Puzzle Knot, it really doesn't matter. Want Acrobatic Maneuver later, but that is a later kind of card. Actually, we'll just play the Puzzle Knot. It's a 1/1 that we actually want to trade off. We don't want to lose 9th bridge. So we'll play the mechanic, get back the Cogworkers, and we'll leave up the select, and I can just take this out when it attacks in, I think. Spontaneous Artist. Okay. I may double block the artist. Although ninth bridge makes that so much better later. Okay, I'll bounce this for now. I want the Aether Theorist. Aether Theorist and ninth bridge next turn. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll take the 3 here. And then we can try and grow the ninth bridge. Seems like the way to do it. Now we're much happier about trading things off. And we basically made our opponent time walk. We take 3 damage. They played a land, but they have to spend 4 to go back to the same position that they were, which is essentially their whole turn again. And this time I can double block with the mechanic and the servo. Or they're forced to use removal on our 1/1. And I think I'm okay with that. Lawless Broker should definitely get in. Wow, it doesn't? That surprises me. I would think they'd snap want to put a counter on this. I'd be very afraid to actually do it. I don't think that I could block it. Like, sure, I can kill it, but the counter on the flyer is pretty nasty. Now that we do the Dakara P-Foul, I'd be more likely to consider it, but wasn't happy with it at the time. Pass. Now the Aether Theorist can hopefully start taking over this game. Just give us better draws than our opponent. And we know that our late game is going to be better. All we need is a Confiscation Coup or an Aether Squall, and our opponent's in a ton of trouble. Little creatures like Thriving Rats don't really matter. Decoction Module. I don't have a way to abuse that, sadly. I think we just play the Cogworkers and hold up the Maneuver. It lets us hold up both the Maneuver and the Cogworkers and activate P-Foul. So we can either use Maneuver or we can activate the Cogworkers again and use the P-Foul. Seems fairly solid. I don't think our opponent has any good attacks yet. Spontaneous Artist can give a few creatures haste now. They've got 3 energy. When they get the Artist, they'll have 4. I'm not sure that that matters. It's annoying. It means that their team kind of has haste for whenever it's necessary. I don't think they're going to be using energy on anything else. If they had attacked the Foundry's creature, we had an interesting decision to make. Have to top that. It's just too strong. It's a way for us to just totally bust this board open. The reason why it'd be interesting if our opponent attacked the Foundry's creature is, do I fly the P-Foul and block it with no protection? Or do I wait until I have Acrobatic Maneuver up? Alright, we'll Cogworkers. Play the Decoction Module and just pass again. This might be the Acrobatic Maneuver on the Aether Theorist at end of turn. Not sure why our opponent's not playing the Spontaneous Artist. Okay. Like, they've got to play something, right? Like, if they're not going to play Artist, they should play something else. And there's an, like, even though Artist has haste, there's an advantage to playing it because you can play it and then your other creatures have haste instead. You just don't have to spend 4 mana that turn. Bastion Mastodon. Good card. Don't think that I can bottom that. I want more energy and scry, and I want to just draw a card. Because if we can hit another land here, that would be good. Freighter. I'll play the Mastodon. It means that I take 3 damage from the Foundry Screecher for now, but that's acceptable to me, I think, just to get this down and solidify our board a little more. Cultivator's Caravan. That is large. Good thing we have our Bastion Mastodon. Yep, take it to 3. It's the issue with the P-Foul is having to leave up the mana every turn is pretty annoying. Another Foundry Screecher. Ugh, less happy about that. Definitely like the Island. That's a card that I wanted to see. And I'm just going to pass the turn here. Freighter and a Servo can block the Cultivator's Caravan. P-Foul blocks and eats one of the Screechers. I probably don't scry anymore because I just need to get enough energy for Aether Squall Ancient to be online, and we're really close to that. Plus, drawing extra lands isn't even that bad for us. Like, what do I bottom? Any non-land that we draw is pretty decent because it's a spell that we can play. Any land that we draw is good because we can play Aether Squall Ancient. Welding Sparks the P-Foul. Okay. Should have activated the Freighter off of that. I guess it's fine. Yep. Okay, now I may actually use the Aether Theorist again, because I want to draw land very desperately, so this Ancient's on. It does mean that I won't have enough energy for it, but I wouldn't necessarily have it for it right away anyways. I guess that I will when it comes back to my turn, which is what I would have had last time, because I get the 1 energy from the Decoction module, so it goes to 5, and then I get 3, so it's at 8. Stop on my upkeep. I really need that land. Okay. Top the land and play the Ancient. Hope that my opponent doesn't have another very good removal spell. They need something like an Unlicensed Disintegration, although if they attack with both Foundry Screechers, feel pretty obligated to block. I don't think that I have much of a choice there. Because our opponent can swing with the team, and we're in a bit of trouble. Our servos can definitely go on chump blocking duty, because we're going to try and return everything. It's important to note that the Cultivator's Caravan won't go back to our opponent's hand. So that'll still be in play. Means that if our opponent gets in with the whole team, then we might just use the Aether Squall Ancient to block the Caravan. Probably not. I might still just have to chump block it. Because I think that I have to block one of these two flyers. I guess we'll see. I am not going to be using this on upkeep. I just kind of got a blind shoot for a creature in the dark so that I can use the Aether Squall. If I don't, I can use Decoction module to bounce, say, Theorist, replay Theorist, and use the Aether Squall then. It's less exciting, but it's certainly something that I can do. Uh-oh. Well, if they're doing this and then undoing it, I feel like that's probably okay for me. It's just the artist that we already know about. So no removal for the Aether Squall. And they're just going to try and deal me as much damage as possible before I can use the Aether Squall. That's got to be the play. Important to note that Spontaneous Artist is going to give us fits. Making their whole team able to have haste is nasty. Although they didn't use it on itself this turn. Are they even attacking at the Caravan? They are. So I guess that was just a mistake they didn't attack the artist. Activate the Freighter, trade with Caravan. Blocking with all the servos. Block one here. Block, block. Take 3. If they have built to smash, that sucks. But it's not... I mean, they'd probably just use it on the Foundry Screecher for the Aether Squall. And by probably, I mean that's definitely what you do. Okay. This'll have to do. We've got our blocks. And we'll hope that our opponent doesn't have any tricks. No tricks? Ooh, no tricks. I like that. Nothing better than an opponent who doesn't have a trick. Spontaneous Artist getting the tokens. Doesn't really matter what happens with them because everything's going to get returned. Gain a bunch of energy. So I can play Windrake. Get the last bit of energy. Bounce everything. Do I attack with Aether Squall Ancient? They can play Spontaneous Artist. Give something haste again. So let's just say that they draw land. They have Artist and Rats. I can play Drake. Replay Theorist? Or replay Drake? Replaying Theorist is better, because it blocks the rats. Not to mention it also gives us more energy again. Okay, we'll definitely play Drake. We have our 8 energy. I'll attack with the servos, but I don't really want to lose Bastion Mastodon. I guess that jumping with Drake might be better. Rebuying this over and over and over with the Aether Scroll Ancient is pretty important because that'll give us enough energy to keep using the Ancient. I guess we'll just win Drake. Also uses our mana more efficiently. Fleet Wheel Cruiser. Yikes. That's a pretty sick draw. Well, I can Confiscation Coup that. Take that, play the Theorist. Have enough energy to bounce everything again, but you can't do it at instant speed. You can only do it at sorcery speed. Because of that, I'm gonna wait. We can attack with the Aether Squall again next turn, when we're a little more stable. It'll also let us start scrying every turn. The Spontaneous Artist is scary right now. Rats, Artist. That's not enough, though. Okay. I would think they'd play Artist just to get the energy. Might as well. There's nothing for 1 black. Do I stop on my upkeep? I guess so. Oh, they're trying to time us out. Sure. I don't think that's going to work. We have 6 minutes left. We're pretty good. So we attack the Ancient. Return everything. Play the Theorist. Play the Bastion Mastodon. And we have enough energy to use the Aether Scroll again next turn for sure. I suppose that I could have used Glintnest Crane instead of the Aether Theorist just so that we have enough in the air to kill our opponent. That would have been the correct thing to do. I was thinking that the Fleet Wheel Cruiser was enough, but I shouldn't rely on that. Oh, well, there's a reason to do it. Right, I'm an idiot. I knew that they had that too, didn't I? I blocked one of them and I didn't block the other. I totally threw that game away. I didn't need to. Wow. I got so caught up in my opponent trying to time me out that I just, like, forgot about playing. It did work. That totally worked, because I was like, oh, they're so desperate they're trying to time me out. They know the game's over. And it just threw me, and I just didn't think about it. I knew that this was a card in their hand. Even if I hadn't attacked the Aether Scroll Ancient, I'd be fine. That was really dumb. Well, I have the right idea, I think. Just gonna send it back. Made some stupid mistakes, but we can correct. I think I made the right choice in sideboarding already. I don't want the Fire Forgers for just the Foundry Screechers, even though they're kind of annoying. We can keep this. Hope to get a good hit off of this Glintnest Crane. My play has been very subpar. I think that our deck is a lot better than what I'm giving it credit for. That being said, we also haven't hit things like Paradoxical Outcome yet, which don't do a whole lot. Pretty happy to not be drawing all those lands. Ninth Bridge Patrol would have been okay, but the lands, not so much. Fretwork Colony. Alright. Play the Windrake. I can Confiscation Coup the Colony at some point if I want to. Probably just trade it with Windrake. I don't want to keep taking damage from it forever. Our opponent has shown us basically no tricks. So I'm willing to offer it up here. Alright. Now they have it. They didn't show us tricks over the last 2 games. Or are they just trying to psych us out? Nope, they have it. Okay. Well, fair enough. Acrobatic Maneuver the Glint Nest Crane's kind of nice. I'm going to wait. That draws us a card just like Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot does. And it might draw us an extra card because the Glint Nest Crane. Plus it saves us 4 life. Like, this is definitely the play. Ooh, nice. Alright. Could just take that Cultivator's Caravan. I think I like stealing the Fretwork, though. Card's just going to get very big, and our opponent doesn't have a ton of removal. We'll use the Cogworker's Puzzle Knot to chump the Caravan for a while if we have to. I'm leaving the Glint Nest back to block the Thriving Rats this turn. Just in case they don't have enough to crew the Caravan. Yeah, now the opponent's thinking pretty hard. Fretwork Colony puts a lot of pressure on them. If they're attacking with that Caravan, it's not defending them from their own Fretwork Colony. And they have to think about what kind of a race that is. I guess we'll see. Tidy Conclusion. Okay. I can see why that was a choice. Want the chump blocker. Still leave the Glint Nest back for a little while. The Drain from Underhanded design seems really good. I'm not going to chump block yet. I think that the underhanded designs was better to just kill the Caravan. And I'll use the servos to maybe double block the Daredevil even. Not going to pay for it this time. I just want to hold up the designs. And we'll keep waiting. I still have enough time. 3 minutes is actually a lot. We can still play the slow game. Marauder is pretty large and in charge, but we do have a Dakara Peafowl. See if they still activate the Caravan or not. Positive that Daredevil still gets in. Couple P-Fells is good. And I'm just going to wait for now. I'll crack the puzzle nut and make this fly. I don't want to play a second P-Foul yet. Opponent a little bit choked up on mana here. Well, I'll go for the double block. It's dicey, but I don't think they have it. So they've shown us very, very few combat tricks. I mean, really the only one that we've seen is Subtle Strike, and we've only seen it this game. Last game went really long, and we never saw anything like that, so... Just need to get to the Ancient. That's all we need. We can block forever. Our opponent can't do anything about that. What am I grabbing with Restoration Gearsmith? We can go pretty crazy. Maybe just Glint Nest Crane. Guess I'm willing to trade Renegade Freighter off for Oval Chase here. Because I can just rebuy it with the train, or with the Restoration Gearsmith. Much like our opponent can. Yeah, trying to time us out. Very rude, but I mean, it's what they can do if they want to. I'm feeling fairly confident, though. If they want to play that game, we can play it. I'm a fast player. I might go a little bit quiet here. Take the damage from the Fleet Wheel for a turn. I think that's okay. Yep. I don't mind that. Attack for 5. Still have trade wins. So I can trade like Prism and Fleet Wheel or something. We'll just pass. 38 seconds. This is going to be tight. Opponent trying to time us out with the Pillar Bugs. Definitely done something. It's probably wasted another like 30-40 seconds off of our clock, which is pretty big. I did play slower than the opponent. It's tough not to when you're talking this much. come on. Having to activate all those is super annoying. Obviously. Opponent's at 2. Select the bug and maybe have enough time to attack back. F6. Oh, the scry. Shit. Ah, the scry is probably going to kill us. Oh, that'll do it. They gain enough life to live. Super annoying. So frustrating. If the opponent's not specifically trying to time us down there, then we win. That really sucks. Well, it's too bad. We weren't that much slower than our opponent either. I mean, 4 minutes is a bit, but we weren't even that bad. It was mostly that, you know, I was narrating what we were doing the whole time, and those were really long games. It's frustrating. Really frustrating, because we had time, then I obviously, like, I didn't want to block there, simply, not because it wasn't a good thing to block, but just because I didn't have the time. Otherwise, I block, I bounce it with the Coction module, and they can't gain the life, and we're just fine. We attack back in the air and win. Like, there was no way that our opponent wins that match legitimately. So, I mean, this is a legitimate way. I shouldn't say that, because you can do it. It's a thing on Magic Online. It's a game they'd never win in real life, but that's just a limitation of Magic Online. So, frustrating loss, but that's what happens. The deck was pretty strong. I think our opponent's deck was quite good. They had a lot of nice attackers, like the Foundry Screechers are really good. The Fleet Wheel Cruiser's awesome. Caravan's really, really good. So they had some good rares, like some good rare aggressive creatures. Any of the vehicles in Midnight Oil. Didn't have a lot of tricks, although apparently they did have Russian Subtle Strike. We just didn't see either of them the first 2 games, which is really weird, especially considering how long Game 2 went. I was expecting I'd see something. So, not a lot of removal, just Tidy Conclusion and Welding Sparks. But I thought that I saw a lot of their decks, so this game they suddenly played Tidy Conclusion, Subtle Strike, and Rush of Vitality, all cards that I hadn't seen, and I would have expected to have seen them. But in any case, that'll be this week's version of Full Force. Sorry for the anticlimactic ending there. Like I said, kind of tough that it happens, but it shows you as a good reminder to pay a lot of attention to your clock. Your opponents can cheese you out and use their abilities. Especially in this format, it's tough to win with things like P-Foul if you're running low on time. And that is a problem with this style of deck. This style of deck has a lot of triggers. We're using Decoction module, we're rebouncing Prisms, we're using Aether Theorist every turn. All of these things take a lot of time. And because of that, even though we've managed our clock fairly efficiently, I think, like, our opponent's playing an aggro deck and they're not that far ahead of us on time. Almost hardly any at all. So I think that we managed our time pretty efficiently, especially considering narrating. It's something that you have to be aware of, and it's a disadvantage that your opponents can use against you. And we certainly had it happen here. So thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you another time. There we go. Hello, Freighter. Honestly, I think that we just Night Market and play Freighter, which sounds insane. I mean, Oval Chase Daredevil before Freighter is nice, and it uses our mana better, but just draining 3 a turn is so good.